Hi, friends. My name is host Eric, and I'm currently enjoying something that probably every boyfriend in the world periodically has to enjoy. I'm enjoying Rachel trying on stuff she got from Old Navy and saying, "Hey, what do you think? Here, you got a little piece of tape on this. Oh, there's a hole in it.
There's a hole in it?
And they put tape over it. Weird. Oh, it's upside down, too.
Oh my
inside
gosh,
out,
it's so bad. Well, I'm definitely returning that.
Yeah. Yeah. If put it back on. Put it back on so we can show people what we're seeing here. In case Old Navy thinks like you did this or whatever, this is the first time she's tried this on. Look at this shit.
That's such BS.
It's got a piece of tape and a hole on it. What's that? If you're gonna leave there, if there's gonna be a hole in it, why would they put a piece of tape on it? It just draws attention to it.
Yeah. You know? Good call, baby. Thanks. Good eye.
Anyway, so I guess that sort of belies my title here. My basic premise here is probably every boyfriend has to go through this shit occasionally where you look at the girl's clothes that she bought and she goes, "Hey, what do you think of this one?" The answer is always, it looks fantastic. Now, you might think, well, what if she tries to trick you by purposely buying something bad to see if she can trust your judgment? She already doesn't trust your judgment and never will. So when it comes to clothes, chicks don't trust the dude. That looks good.
Thank you.
Chicks don't trust the dude's judgment at all. Okay, so your job is to think they look gorgeous and whatever. You know, they can put on a burlap sack and they'll look gorgeous. And so if they come home with a burlap sack, you go, "Wow, that looks really good on you." You really make that burlap sack sing way more than any other chick does. That's the key, you see. Some people think they actually want your opinion. They don't want your opinion. They don't. No. They really don't want it.
I even learned that, like, from...
Damn, girl. Look at that, though. Oh, my God.
Thank you. I mean, I will have to wear it.
You're going to have to put a bra on underneath that one, I think, before we show it on the channel.
Yeah, definitely. I can't not wear it. But...
Oh, that would probably get us some views. That'd be a great thumbnail.
I'm okay with it being pointy, just not see-through.
Yeah, it's borderline, I'd say, that shirt, you know.
Yeah. It's a nice back to it too. I like it.
So yeah, we just picked up an order that Rachel had made online. It's okay.
Okay.
For Old Navy clothes, and so far so good, except for the one with a hole and a piece of tape on it. So weird.
That is so weird.
Why would they? Probably I bet what happened is somebody put the piece of tape on it to make a note of it for somebody else, and it just didn't get noticed and got put back in the stack or something.
Yes, that does happen.
Hi, Octavia Silva. How are you doing today? Which dairy product are you made out of today? Think carefully before choosing your answer. Because there's only one correct answer to this question. It's not yogurt. It's not whole milk. It's not skim milk. It's cheese. Yeah. Wait a second. Has a gray Jaguar entered into the house here? I'm confused. Where did Rachel go? Oh, that's you in a Jaguar print shirt. I was confused. Oh, you're Gouda. All right, Octavia Silva's Gouda cheese. That's good.
Gouda cheese is good. My sister, while she was in Serbia, had fried Gouda that was shaped in hearts.
How romantic.
So romantic.
Was she on a date with a Serbian?
That I do not know.
Did she get any play while she was in Serbia?
That I don't know either.
She doesn't kiss and
She
tell.
did meet people though.
Sa indeed. SUH means hello now in contemporary parlance. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Like that one's not see-through, but it's still quite dramatic.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking with
With those.
these leggings, yeah.
Is there a better way to communicate with I mean, I got up fairly recently, Octavia Silva. I've not been up that long. I got up. We watched a couple episodes of episodes of Blue Exorcist. Then we went to the mall to pick up her order, and then we just got back. That's all I've done today. I haven't even I got up like 11:30 or something. Because I've been up for like 3 hours. I'll check my email at some point. No, your messages will get prioritized now, Octavia.
Yeah. If you want, I could put
You can also
flag.
sure, or you can also call me or text me.
Okay.
You have my number.
Sure.
So, right. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, chicks and clothes and stuff. But there's more to life than just talking about chicks and clothes. Although that's a huge part of life, but no. Don't worry about annoying me at all. In some sense, you're the hero we've been waiting for. Because, everybody's got advice. Nobody does anything. It's a bunch of intuitives around here. What do we got? Well, we got words. We don't got action. So, you are the hero that I'm dreaming of. Baby.
Kiki's delivery service.
Can I turn the camera on?
Sure, yeah.
That's what women like to call their little black dress.
Yeah, this is the one for the cooler. Thank you. But I really could be Kiki we have the broom. All I need is a big bow in my hair. A red bow.
Yeah, and you'd be Kiki.
Yeah.
Does she have a belt on too or no?
No, no belts. Remember, she's upset because her mom only puts her in this. She's like, I don't have the current fashions that everyone does.
Hey, a little black dress is always contemporary.
Thank you.
That's what they say in women's fashion circles. I'm an expert on women's fashion.
He really is.
I showed Rachel the store in the mall where I get all my Michael Kors bags because I will not be caught dead out in the world without a Michael Kors handbag.
Without yours?
Correct. And I have to have at least 6 different handbags. Ideally 7, one for every day of the week.
Oh.
It's mostly Michael Kors. I do also have a Coach bag in there for when I got to go do poor people stuff.
There's some hoes in this house.
There's some hoes in this house. The other thing I want to talk about in this live stream a bit is we finished the first season of Blue Exorcist. And I got to say, really an amazing anime. Very dense and rich. Unlike a lot of other animes, I had no urge to binge on it for more than a few episodes. 3 episodes is about as much of it as I wanted to do it in a sitting. It's kind of like a very heavy, rich food, and no matter how delicious it is, it's something I had needed time to process after I watched a couple episodes of it. Got a lot of shit going on in there. Do I prefer anime to American television? Well, I like them both. I wouldn't say I prefer anime. I mean, as far as cartoons go, BoJack Horseman, I think, is the best cartoon ever made, in my opinion. And I would say that certainly there are other American cartoons that are as good as Japanese cartoons. But I mean, anime is one of the things that Japan gives to the world, you know?
It does.
And it's pretty great. It's a pretty great gift from Japan to the world.
You know, thinking about anime that I really like is that they can stretch the realms of reality. Like they don't hold back when it comes to like having a little fantasy stuff in their artwork and storyline.
Yeah, it's very much a magical realism kind of world in some sense, because they except the realism is all like Japanese culture realism, like school kids realism and stuff.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes in, I've got 4 attendees here at the live stream. I'm not sure what to make of that. It's unusual. Perhaps it's the title of the stream, or perhaps YouTube's lagging on notifications of it or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know if I got anything on mine.
So I think that Rachel and I both woke up this morning feeling somewhat dispirited. I don't think it's the time of day. Actually, I think it's not a bad time of day to live stream. So it's okay. I don't know. You can only send bell notifications for 3 videos per 24 hours. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. No wonder.
Queen of Vegas, though, says yes, it's definitely the title. Well, I mean, it says that on the answer. I mean, Octavia, so I don't read those things. I don't know. The only time I look up how to do something is when somebody in the stream goes, "You really need to meow, meow, meow." I'm like, after like the 3rd time they said it, go, fine, I'll go look figure out how to do it. God. I hate tea. That's what it boils down to. I just hate it. I hate it. It's so boring. It's so like, God.
It really is.
It's terrible.
Like, okay, so I left my Old Navy card in New York. So I'm thinking it's an easy 1-800 number. They'll just transfer me to the credit stuff. No. I had to go through like 3 people, and then my telephone call went to like India. And that's where, after all of like the steps, I had to speak clearly to someone who was overseas so that I could get my information. It was, talk about a hassle. But I got it done, so who cares? That's at the end.
That's good follow through, Rachel.
Thanks.
I'm not sure if this is more than my 3rd video in the last 24 hours or not. I will reset in 6 hours. Oh. Okay, well. I guess that explains the periodic ones like this one where you get very slow people gathering onto it or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like to make a lot of videos. That chart that Octavia Silva made for me is hilarious. When it shows how many videos all the competitors in my field have. And I've got like almost 5,000 more than the 2nd place person. So obviously I'm doing things a little differently than they are, Yeah, I have 5,200 and some videos. That's a lot of videos.
That is a lot of videos. That's See, if anyone questions your NE domness, that's like a good way of showing them.
All right, that chart is great. Okay, so let's look at how you know you're an ENTP. And then we compare which of these channels is made by an ENTP. The one with, 300 videos and 500,000 subscribers? Or the one with 5,000 videos and 6,000 subscribers? It's the latter one. It's like I've said this in the past before. My subscriber to video ratio for people who are actually trying it all has got to be the lowest of anybody. Like, I can't imagine anybody having more videos and fewer subscribers than me. Well, she's an ENFP. It's different than an ENTP. This particular format is perfect for ENTP. Why? FI polar. It's bruising for people who have FI any place other than polar. You got to deal with a lot of shit. You got to put up with a lot of attackers and haters and whatever. And for people who have FI somewhere in their front stack or even anywhere but polar, really, that can be a challenge, It doesn't bother me, usually. Every once in a while, somebody will say something that bothers me. But it's pretty rare. Like, for example, there's a certain amount of general, not general. There's a certain amount of directionality from a small group of people that is really wanting to argue Rachel's type of thing. Okay. In general, I don't like to get into arguments about what type Mia is, because they're not arguments that can be really resolved definitively. And there's not a clear winning argument. To try to convince somebody of a given thing requires a lot of effort, and they may still not be convinced, and they may still think it's, their opinion is just as funny. And of course, it's an interesting situation from a TI perspective, because one of the factors that really is significant is my experience, my personal experience. That is to say, I spent a ton of time with her, and I know her a lot better than those people, right? So, but that's not that doesn't pass the test of reciprocal burdens. In other words, because they can't use that argument, I can't really use it either. And we can see why I can't use it, because I will be happy to tell other people that their personal experience is not very significant in my determination of a given type. I can't say my personal experience is particularly determinant. In other words, the quantity of experience. The specifics of the experience, this reason, that reason, the other reason, and this example, that example, those are relevant, but just the amount of time I spent with her is not an argument I can really make, independent of saying, and I know what I'm doing.
This is an SX relationship.
So, if I do establish that, look, I really know what I'm doing, though, when I spend a lot of time with her. So it's true that people you can't just rely on having spent a lot of time with somebody to give weight to their position. You can in this instance, because I'm an expert on typology. I'm as expert as you can get on it. So it should in some sense be relevant. However, then what I'll encounter is the claim that, yeah, but I'm biased because I'm too close to it, right? So they say, well, I've got all this experience with her. Well, yeah, but that just increases your bias because you really want her to be with me. And it's not actually true at all. I don't care about that stuff. It's like
No.
there would be a problem that would persist if she were mistyped, which is being an INFJ, she would continually feel friction between the label and the reality until it got resolved. Unfortunately, that's not an argument I can make either, because, of course, if she's not actually an INFJ, then she might very well stubbornly cling to being an INFJ. So it's like, it ends up that those arguments don't end up being about Rachel. They end up being about my reliability as somebody who types people. And so it's like when I always ignore those baits to argue about Rachel's type. Rachel does not always ignore them, but she's, I think, starting to always ignore them. So
oh yeah, no, I feel so much more settled ontologically as an INFJ. Just things make so much more sense. Like my basic feel that as a human being I fail to some degree.
I mean, again, when people are saying you're not an INFJ, they're not really interested in you and your type so much as they are in finding a good angle of attack to engage me in argumentations where I'm on ground of reduced effectiveness. Namely, because you're my girlfriend, it opens up these sort of bias arguments that they wouldn't otherwise have. And so it makes you a good target for as a resolution to argue with me about.
Yes.
But I'm not going to bite on that bait. And I obviously, as you can tell by my articulating all the realities of it, I'm way ahead of them, you know. So it's like, I don't tend to be bothered too much by hate directed at me specifically, but I have to be more aware when it comes to baiting me by the people around me. FI Polar is much more easy for me to ignore things that they're intended to be hurtful towards me, because I trust my ability not to care. I don't trust the ability of the people around me not to care because they're not FI Polar. And I don't think this is even an intellectual thing. I think it's something I've just sort of picked up on throughout my life without really understanding I was picking up on it or what it was even. Well, the funny thing is, a lot of people will that's their point, is that she's an ENFP. They'd be much better off if they wanted to argue with me, trying to argue she's an ENFJ. That makes a lot more sense. The thing is, she's clearly not an ENFP because you can see how different she is from me or from any other ENFP. She's just not talkative like that. When I ask her questions, her answers are like, she gives me a single complete answer. She doesn't go, oh gosh, to answer that, first I need to tell you about the history of the Roman Empire, which is what I tend to do, because I think, well, I need to explain this in full. To fully understand this, you need to know this and this and this and this and this and this. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, I understand the first impression maybe, but I really am an INFJ 7 type. So what that means to me, at least, is that there's an undercurrent of extroversion that is not prevalent in other types of INFJs, say like an Enneagram 4.
You're louder than some INFJs.
Yeah,
okay?
Definitely louder
than most INFJs. But you'll note that we have two people here. It is very obvious which one of us is extroverted and which one of us is introverted. Which one of us talks 80% of the time, if not more?
I remember someone saying, when I got mad at Lawnmower, I remember someone saying, like, Rachel's getting upset because they hadn't seen like any of the when I was unhealthy. It's true.
Did I say me or any other ENFP? I say me or any other NE Dom, I think, probably. People are expecting this depth of INFJs, but they are wanting it on a superficial level, which just isn't going to happen. Right. So it's like, as you get to know an INFJ, you start to get a range of their expression, and INFJs are one of the reasons why poker is the perfect game for an INFJ is because the more slowly, like the right way to play it is to know over some period of time the people you're playing with and then play accordingly. It's a very slow game. It takes a long time to develop. And so the thing about INFJs is if you're not patient, if you don't give them time to develop the explanation of their NI intuition at their own pace, then they shut down and you don't get really anything out of them.
Yeah.
And that's most of the time. Even in this relationship, despite myself.
I don't even realize it.
It's just the extrovert's impatient to talk, or I am impatient to ask questions. In other words, I'm not native to chilling and letting her NI manifest itself. Being an action type means thinking that whatever you are doing, you need to have the hands on the rein and be directing it all the time. Introverted intuition isn't like that. Introverted intuition is the Zen mind, beginner's mind, kind of the beauty that happens when you don't try too hard and everything. You just let things fall into place naturally. You don't force it. NI is not forcing it.
Sometimes I do, and when I do try to brute force it, tell me about a collapse. Like I have learned to allow and let things happen as they may over life.
So it's possible that from certain perspectives, one might think that introverted intuition links to the phenomenon of foot dragging. But I would say that really it only appears that way when the proper course of action is to wait for things. It's like, I know how we're going to be more efficient farmers. What we'll do, why wait a whole season? We'll plant on Monday, we'll water on Tuesday, they'll grow on Wednesday, we'll harvest on Thursday. We just bring out the threshers and start harvesting on Thursday. And then we can compact this whole growing season thing into 4 days. It's a lot more efficient. Well, that won't work because you need to let the plants grow, have time to just grow on their own. There's a lot of things in life that are like that. And NI understands those things and understands that quality of those things. Unfortunately, life rarely affords the INFJ the ontological room to safely let things grow in that fashion because they know other people are going to come interfere and mess it up.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Winston's mom, how you doing? Frank James, he fascinates me to some degree. Like, he's a good example. Like, he's the best YouTube example of an INFJ.
I want to make a claim. And I want any INFJ, including you, possibly Rachel, who's here or who sees this later, possibly to correct me or give me an example of somebody else if they think I'm wrong. I would like to assert that of all non-INFJs, who publicly speak about INFJs, I understand INFJs the best.
Yeah, you do.
And when I say this is the INFJ's actual experience, the INFJs are like, amen, brother, or whatever.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so I've only had one other ENTP friend. Didn't know she was an ENTP friend until the end of our relationship. And, like, having Eric as my boyfriend someone who I know, like, not only gets me on an intuitive level, but also a practical level, and friendship and love and support. It's like everything an INFJ needs to flourish, because I know for myself as an idealist, I want to be the best partner I can be. And that's putting a lot of pressure on myself and on the relationship, to be honest, too. But when a relationship is just like not working, INFJs really feel it.
I like it, Ryan Fox. I kind of like paint some qualities of INFJs in sort of negative language on purpose, because everybody seems to think they're these like golden angels or something, which, you know, yeah, it's like the reason I like INFJs is because I'm the same way, you know. Except it's like but the difference is, instead of being like, okay, everybody, if you just chill for a second, let things develop here, and we'll just see how this thing plays out. And everybody's messing with shit. I'm the one who's saying, like, this makes the most sense. Blah 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 blah. I'm doing it's the equivalent for me, but with TI stuff. Like, I'm constantly running into people who are making TI claims, but that they can't substantiate. See, that's the thing about INFJs. Regardless of the activeness of their TI, they're not going to tend to make TI claims they can't substantiate or try to sustain bad TI argumentation. Instead, they're going to struggle to explain or justify their NI truths in terms of TI argumentation.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a concern and a bother to them. On the other hand, somebody like an ESFP, they have no concern or bother with that at all, right? They can explain the living shit out of their NI truths, because their NI truths are terrible, because they don't care at all about whether they're logical. So, you know, it's like, it's a catch-22 all the way around. ENTP is uniquely, I think, positioned to understand INFJ, but they don't necessarily, as Alan Bryan's relationship with his ENTP wife reveals, I think. I think she's basically bullied him with her words, and it makes me sad.
Oh.
Anything on the Marty front?
Did that happen recently?
No, he's been with her forever.
Oh.
I'm saying
why?
Well, I basically what I think has occurred is he's watched this channel. He sees my relationship with you in particular, but also just even before when I was with Kimberly, and sees how genuinely fair I am compared to his wife, and how cognitive functions have allowed me to self-critique more effectively and say, okay, I'm going to try not to just go full blast function bias here and say, you need to stop using your feelings. That's evil. Only logic is acceptable. Like I would do when I was 25 years old or something, you know?
Yeah, and I
are you using your feelings? I would say, like my first wife or something. That is unacceptable.
You know, I kind of wonder though, if people in past relationship with me, which that I had been more warm, because like I don't have a great understanding of feelings. I have a very I'd say definitely junior high level of understanding of emotions. So
unfortunately, I'm just a toddler, so
yeah, he really is.
Right,
It's like the best thing in the world.
It's kind of like, whereas on FI grounds, others, there might be something that others would critique or something. I don't know what that would be, but I'm so immature about my emotions that it's as simple as, you know, you hurt my feelings, or what feelings?
Yeah.
It's
like,
as
what are you
simple as
talking
that,
about?
you know?
Yeah.
Because she'll often bring up something like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And I've done that with Delilah too. Like I think I felt effie bad about. Oh yeah, I hung up on her before she finished her sentence, and I felt bad about it, and I apologized. And she's like, "What do you even?" Oh, she's like, "I didn't even notice." But like, it just makes me feel better to apologize. I know that could be something that bugs people about INFJs. The I'm sorries to people and things that don't deserve it, like walls and doors.
Ooh, Freddie Forgiato got in trouble with Marty.
Who's Marty?
I love that. That is so fucking perfect, Rachel. I just love it. Marty Glenn, that guy who I paid police the other day.
Oh god.
It was so genuine too, right? You could tell how genuine it was. Who's Marty? Like
I'm sorry.
That's great. I love that. He was all fired up, and Rachel legitimately is like, "Who's Marty?"
That happens a lot. See, INFJs could be cold too, because it's like just in a different way. Oh shit.
That's like burn, motherfucker, burn. That's great. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I would kind of like to see what he had to say about Freddie. I'm kind of hesitant to turn on one of those videos. Sorry for bogarting.
Okay.
I'm kind of hesitant to turn on one of the videos because I know it's going to sort of engage me emotionally, I guess. You and Peter didn't teach you. Yeah, you too. Did you get in trouble? What did you have to say? Did you watch it? What do you think, Freddie Forgiato? Did you watch it?
I'm setting up a GoFundMe for Lord Your Lungs.
He claims to allow people to insult each other, yet he says he allows it once and then bans people.
That's just like the Sunny guy.
Yeah. Was just him complaining, saying this is what's wrong with MPTI? What, TI? TI is what's wrong with MBTI? He just wants MB, huh? MB with no TI. I think it's fair to say ESFPs believe in the MB theory of personality. It's just like MBTI, but without the TI.
See, like, I like TI because INFJs will hold TI in their back pocket. Like, they're not going to, if a friend is in need, even though the friend might be complaining about something, that friend might not want help. So the INFJ will keep their thoughts to themselves. But but in reality, like, we know the truth of the situation, and it's like sometimes I'll feel it's unfair that someone's complaining to me because I can't help them with the TI truth.
So here's some TI truth for you guys. You mad, bro? Rachel's cough has absolutely nothing to do with her health, okay?
No.
And she's been coughing like that since before March. She's been coughing like that since she first came to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because she coughs like that whenever she smokes weed. She's got a very coffee being. Now, the thing is this. Everybody is going to cough if you get super coffee weed, okay? And nobody's going to cough like that if you get really non-coffee weed. And that's true for Rachel as well.
True.
It's just that some people have a lower cough resistance than others. So mine's like pretty high up here. I can smoke pretty coffee weed and not get all coffee.
Yeah, man.
But if I get really coffee weed, then I'll be just like her the whole time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a smog problem in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is got remarkably good air quality.
Yeah. Los Angeles, and just like I think California in general, when it comes to nature, really stepped up the game. Like, I gotta say, fucking New York is so behind. Yo, like, I remember a friend of mine visiting from Chicago, and he was like, you guys still have, like, air conditioners that are, like, set up for your window? I was like, yeah, we're an old city, man. Like,
That's obvious here, too. Well,
that's because Chicago burned. We can't forget that.
Thing to note is all the smog regulations actually worked in California.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not somebody who's
in
general in favor of regulations, but I am somebody who in general is favor of being aligned with reality. And what I see as somebody who grew up in Southern California back when I was a kid, there were regularly third stage smog alerts, second stage smog alerts, first stage smog alerts, and then just regular smoggy days. Now, I haven't heard a smog alert in years. That I can recall, except for like fire-related shit, you know. When the fires were all bad, I don't think that we would call that a smog alert. They just say air quality alert or something like that.
Yeah, like for us, when we had the fires, it was unhealthy air quality.
When I was a kid, not being able to see the mountains from my house in the summer was a fairly regular occurrence. So you knew it was probably third stage, and you knew it was really smoggy when you couldn't see the mountains. But it happened multiple days every summer, many days of summer probably. And your eyes would sting frequently, like during the summer, your eyes were always stinging. Your lungs would hurt if you take a deep breath. When you get out of the pool, your lungs would hurt. Your eyes would extra stingy. There were days in school where the children were not allowed to go out and play because it was a smog alert. Or there were different things you had to do. Like, no, it's first stage. You can go outside, but you cannot run around. And then if it was like third stage, you couldn't even go outside. If it was second stage, you like go outside, but you have to sit down. Nowadays, there's none of that shit anymore. It worked. You know, all these regulations, they worked. Catalytic converters worked. The emissions limits on cars worked. And what I think this really draws a huge attention point to is be smart, distinguish between kinds of policies. It is a very good idea for the government to regulate to prevent pollution. Pollution is bad. We don't want to live in a polluted environment. I've been to Shanghai and I've been to Taiwan. Shanghai is what happens when authoritarians run the country. You've got crazy bad pollution, even though it's on the ocean and the winds blow. And it's much less bad than Beijing, apparently, but it's still crazy bad. You can't drink the water or you'll die. Like, if you drink the water for a couple months straight, like tap water, you'll die because it's got so many heavy metals in it.
No thanks. I want to say that, like, it's cool hearing this from you because a lot of people come to California. Like, they've moved from someplace and lives in California. You were born and raised here, so you really know, like, a lot of history about the state.
Yeah. So, I remember when I was a kid in the 70s, they still had leaded gas for a little while, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe for a few years as well. But then I remember being in my pajamas and right in the back of the car waiting in line for the gas station that used to be down there where that plastic surgery place is.
Yeah.
So there used to be a gas station right there. And we were waiting in line during the gas crisis of the 70s when the Middle Eastern countries had the oil embargo. and everybody was issued, you could only get a certain amount of gas. You were limited to 7 gallons or something like that.
I read about that in history books.
Does word analysis have roots and meaning, and words meaning separating and taking things apart in Latin? And synthesis means put together, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Was Anthony Bourdain an ENFP? Well, I used to think he was an ENTP, and I've got a couple of reasons to think he was an ENTP, and perhaps more reasons to think he was an ENFP. I think he was probably. I mean, the thing that makes me think he was an ENTP is like he at least affected a kind of the kind of FI insensitive humor sometimes that ENTPs have.
Yeah, that's what made me from being like.
He doesn't. He seems more like an ENTP to me than an ENFP. But I guess the totality of evidence I have, and the fact that I didn't know him in person or whatever, I would say, I don't know. He's an ENFP, I guess.
That's hard.
I wouldn't, because when he killed himself, I was shocked. I wouldn't expect an ENTP to do that.
I wouldn't expect an ENTP to do that.
I would think ENTP would be one of the least likely types to kill themselves.
And ENFP does have a record.
ENFP, on the other hand, is a different story. Yeah, Sarah Silverman also. Yeah, Sarah Silverman.
She's a good example.
She's okay. So she's probably an example of an ENFP who seems like an ENTP, and probably Anthony Bourdain was another example of that. Anthony Bourdain, a while back. Who do I think? Anthony Bourdain is what we're talking about. We're talking about two people. It's Anthony Bourdain and Sarah Silverman. I think they're both ENFPs, and they both seem like ENTPs.
Yeah, a lot of people type Sarah Silverman as ENTP based on not even like they forget that she had a TV show, and like most of her TV shows were like poop and fart jokes. Like she's not very skilled when it comes to wit. She's more just like in your face crude funny. She's funny. I did like the show.
She kind of takes on a character that she.
She's like, she's got her dog, and she likes to clean the dog's butthole, and she just doesn't hold back.
What type is Louis C.K.? The baseball player, Ethan? No, not that Louis C.K.
So a lot of people claim that Louis C.K. is an INFP. I don't know. He could be.
As far as, I think Rachel and I both love good jokes, regardless of their category.
I like fart jokes. I do. Poop can get over the line, like.
Who did an interview with Anthony Bourdain?
Yeah. Louis C.K.?
Louis C.K. did? So Louis C.K., I think, is probably an IXFJ. Which? Maybe N.
I want to show you. Oh my
Do you think Louis C.K. is an INFJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. You say sadly.
Okay, you know why? Here's the thing. I've been a fan of his since he had his show on HBO. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I never watched it, but I remember.
So we did. So me and my friends did. We really liked it, and he's really funny. But I don't think he has a lifestyle. I don't think stand-up comedy at small venues, and he's phenomenal. But when it came to
his show,
the
TV show,
well, I like the TV show actually. It was very serious. It was kind of off-brand for him, but it was really smart.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it. it's when he went on tour, like the big,
He
big
doesn't do well in the
venues.
big venues.
No, he
Makes
looks
sense.
so sad. Like
He needs to be engaged with the room.
yeah, and it's just he felt like everyone was on the bandwagon, like, oh, like where were you guys like years ago? But
Is that Broad City thing? Is that the one with the girl puts the weed in her vagina?
yes,
I saw that episode of it. It was pretty funny.
it is.
But
I want to know what she typed. Would put weed up her vagina. ENFP.
Or ESFP.
Yeah, I think she's an ESFP.
Like Marty, this is the ridiculous thing. I hate to even say it. I just wish it weren't the case because I spent all that time talking about how he's an ENFP. But having reflected on it for a couple of days or a little while now, I actually am more leaning towards ESFP than anything else with Marty. Marty. how soon we forget. It's like I think he's an ESFP. I don't think he's an ENFP. But that totally, it's like I know I'm just opening myself up to Marty going, I get it. Yesterday you were saying 98% yeah, now all of a sudden I'm an ESFP. It wasn't even on that list. You said 98% ENFP, 1% ENTJ, and 1% ESTJ. And I actually think he's an ESFP. I fucked up. I messed it up.
Okay.
The thing is, you need a little bit of time to process shit. Sometimes I jump the gun. That's the thing. I wasn't typing the guy the way I would in a typing session. I'm asking him questions and getting answers and throwing out possibilities in my head and then being able to go, no, not that. Okay, I got a new answer. It was, I'm trying to say what it's a nightmare.
That's what happens.
He's TI polar either way is the point.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens with type police, though. Remember, you type policed INFJ Frank James as an INFP. You put him in the slammer too fast.
Yeah. I don't mind that one because it was easy enough to publicly recant that and stuff. And I didn't see him fundamentally as an adversary. I don't see this guy as an adversary, but he sees me as one. Yeah, he's an ESFP. I don't know why it took me so long to see it. I guess there's sort of an FE thing that it's an easier FE thing to make because if I say he's ESFP right out the gate, people go, you just say everybody you don't like is ESFP, Eric, or shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I just fucked it up by miscalculating various factors and overweighting something I shouldn't have weighted at all. So that's my bad. I'll learn from it though.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who cares?
I mean,
he'll make it sound like he turns shit around on everyone else way too easily and far. I mean, he will turn it around. Yeah, I mean, ESFPs do have strong rolling E. Just look at Cloud. It's like low grade NE output, It's a dead man's party.
I like your little fox running fox. It's cute.
Yeah, he's not an ENTJ. Definitely not TI Fest. TI polar. You can see the adversarialness he has towards TI. And that's true. That was true of me for FI when I was younger. Like in my 20s, I had that same sort of adversarialness to FI. Like anytime anybody expressed that, but you got to think about Jody's feelings. Fuck Jody's feelings. Jody's feelings don't matter. Your emotions are bad. And I'm freaking out all emotional,
You know what, though, for me as an INFJ, to learn that I'm not responsible for the way that people react and feel, like, I don't know, that was a big deal for me because I used to think that I would try to settle something right with my ESTJ or with my dad, and it just like would fail. Because of TE polar,
Marked in. Very interesting. Way to stir up some interesting drama stew here. Emily Barnes, aka Pukoki, claims to have known Frank James. She did, and dated him for a while. And she said he's definitely not INFJ, but definitely in Beta Quadrant. Interesting. Or if you just say his type. I think she's wrong. I think he's definitely an INFJ.
Yeah, me too.
I don't, and I think she is too. So I think it's weird that she's wrong about this.
She might just be bitter.
I don't know. Because I would afford both of them definite INFJ status.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
That's what I think. Here's the thing. I am not super. It takes me once. It usually takes me a little while or a little bit of experience with a given individual before I really can settle on a type and stay there forever.
Yeah.
But once I do, I rarely budge because, and you
You're
almost
right.
always once I settle on the right type, it stays that way from that point forward. Like I'm pretty sure, to be honest, that Marty Glenn's an ESFP, but I'm hesitant at this point, having bounced all over the place on it, and him making a point of it.
He's going to.
That I'm hesitant to say 100% at this point. But the one thing that I'm 100% on is the thing that I've been 100% on since fairly early on, though not instantly, which is he's TI polar. He's TI polar. That's the thing.
ESFPs can be funny.
You wonder what I would top your ass? I would top your ass. I don't know. What do you want me to type your ass?
Running Fox, I thought they got INFJ. I really there's so many things that you and I we're even thinking at the same time. It's almost uncanny, I'd say you're an INFJ. But
it's hard to say when you just deal with people in the chat because people can be very different in person than you perceive them as reading their chats.
Totally. You thought by reading my chats that I was an INFP or an ISFP. I remember you were saying that because, I would only come in and out of the chat.
Right. I'm going to do my shower with IQ. Doing things with IQ. Right. What does that mean anyway? Doing things with IQ.
Whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then why would you say I am?
It's like, it's indicative of how he doesn't get the words mean things, right? Because I'm going to do my shower with IQ is not just another way of saying I'm going to do my shower with intelligence or I'm going to do my shower intelligently. It's saying I'm going to do my shower with intelligence quotient with the score from my intelligence test. So it's a really weird thing to say, Andrew McCutcheon was a baseball player who also had an interview with Anthony Bourdain. Oh, I don't know. Okay. I don't know who Andrew McCutcheon is, so.
Definitely a Running Fox. Oh, who had an interview with him? That's difficult if we don't know the other person who was interviewed. Him. I want to say that I want to confirm that I believe Matt Damon to be an ISTJ because he was in the movie Road Trip or a Euro Trip, whatever, the one where Scotty doesn't know, and he sings Scotty doesn't know. And Cameron loves that song. And I'm like, that's just like two bodies of work coming together.
I see. So you're saying the tenuous link, nevertheless, brought to mind. Oh, I think I know what his type is now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it solidified it for me. I was like, ew. I'm like, this song sucks.
Yeah, I didn't like that song either. I found it not particularly good on its best elements. Trying too hard on its medium level elements and sort of evil on its top level elements.
Totally evil. Because in the part where Matt Damon's singing the song, that's when the the girl finds out, and it's just like terrible. And Tom Green is in it, and he's terrible. You know, it's just like bad 2000s, early 2000 movie. Such a bad movie.
Running Fox says, my husband loves that song, and I think he's asked you. I never heard it until Cameron played it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible song, for sure.
Yeah, Matt Damon sings it in the movie, so I think it's just like full circle for me.
Well, I mean, it's an appropriate kind of career for an ESFP as a sports star. You know, everything's pragmatic. There's no requirement that they understand the map at all.
What do you guys think about the Lakers winning the championship?
The Los Angeles Lakers have won the World Championship.
They won, and it's been 10 years. I gotta say, I gotta give it to LeBron. I mean, he's up there in age, and he came into the Lakers. He wasn't.
I didn't think it was gonna work. I didn't think
it was gonna work either.
I thought he was out of his prime, and we were picking him up too late. I didn't think it was gonna work.
You know, I didn't think it was going to work because it didn't work for the Heat, really. I mean, it did. They got what? They got close, but they got two. He got 2 rings. Did he get any rings?
He got at least one.
Okay. But it didn't work as well as they had hoped. They had hoped that it was going to be like the triple threat.
Well, you know what the Spurs need to do? They need to bring back the Admiral David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and they'll be good again.
Tim Duncan! Holy crap. Wow. One Cleveland, one LA. Oh, yeah, 2 Miami, so it did work. There you go.
Bring them out of retirement. Don't care how old they are. I want those 2 big men in the middle for San Antonio again. That's the only real San Antonio team. It's the team that has both Tim Duncan and David Robinson on it.
I've actually been to San Antonio.
I have too.
You have?
Mm-hmm. Not to a basketball game.
No, me neither. I actually really liked it there.
I did too. I like San Antonio.
Me too. People are nice. It was a quaint kind of city.
That was where my first national championship was the kid who got national championship in declamation.
Oh, wow.
And then it was the vice principal's son.
That is dope.
Pretty good points at work, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, it's not a real team without IQ. I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James has a high IQ.
I think you have Marty as their coach.
Remember in that movie that we watched with Amy Schumer and LeBron was in it?
Yeah,
and
he was
fighting over the tip.
He was great.
He was great in that. I think he really is like that.
Those were the high points of the movie.
He was the best in that movie.
In that movie Trainwreck where the sports stars cameos and stuff.
Yeah.
LeBron was hilarious.
Oh yeah, and so was Mars Stoudemire too with the leg surgery.
Yeah,
he was great. He was great. Yeah, Trainwreck. Yeah. Trainwreck actually, they filmed in part of it in Franklin Square, Long Island. Didn't even know they were filming, and you can see part of my hometown in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you point out when we watched it?
No, I didn't want to seem like a snob.
No, that would have been interesting.
Oh, well, next time. Well,
I love you, Rachel.
I love you, Eric.
Do you know how I love you?
No.
With my emotions.
Oh my goodness, I love his emotions. He gives me so many of them. You know, he can't hide his emotions.
Nicholas Watson, as far as I'm concerned, LeBron is a patriot for bringing that Chinese money back to the United States of America.
Yeah, man. LeBron James has a birthday near mine, too.
You got to understand something, Nicholas Watson. LeBron James is doing this with IQ.
Right. It's not physicality. It's all IQ.
They have none of more of a personal attachment to what they do, and therefore may take it more seriously than ESTP. Same goes for ISFP. But, of course, STPs can be good as well. Some SJs, too.
Karma's Pimp, Eric said something like that, similar today. What really annoys me, nobody listens yet everyone demands to be heard. Or no one does anything and everyone demands to be heard.
I don't mind that part as much. I don't mind that part as much. The thing is, Karma's Pimp, it is not the case that everybody is equipped with a listening function that's near the top. So knowers will typically use the listening part of the interface function more, okay? But because the interface function you can think of as a listening part and a putting part. And then the knowledge part is the receiving part. For an action liberation type like me, I've got putting and listening, but and then I prioritize the knowing part of my FE. In other words, I'm more likely to know if I did well or poorly on FE grounds than I am to actively, I guess, put information with FE considerations paramount.
You definitely don't want to embarrass an ENTP.
Mark, Dan, I'm a debate coach, and Rachel is host Eric's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. The best job, I have to say. We get along real well.
Okay, well, Ms. Watson, I agree China is gearing up their military, but I don't think they're gearing up their military to attack the United States of America. Are there a couple of other targets that you can think of in the world that China might be more likely to aim its military at? I can think of at least two.
So.
Taiwan and India.
Taiwan, India. Taiwan has been a big deal for a while now.
Well, China's obsessed with them, and they should be their own country, and it's ridiculous.
They should. I had a Taiwanese friend. She was a joyful bucket of fun. She was just like she was a living anime character. She was so cute. I loved her. She was one of my co-workers at the Olive Garden, and her parents were from Taiwan, and she made sure, she's like, no, I'm not Chinese, I'm Taiwanese. Like, there's a difference. And I was like, oh. She's like, yeah, she's like, she was much more like, blah, 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 instead of being like,
so what is it? So what course of action would you recommend, Nicholas Watson? What is it that you are actually saying here? What's your advocacy? Is Rachel sighing? Sighing? Yeah, that's typical for INFJs to incorporate anecdotes into their FE. It's something they learn fairly early on they need to do to make things resonant to the people they're speaking to. But in this context, it's more likely she does it than in some other contexts because I guess she's making media.
Yeah.
That's funny, Mark Dan. We talked about this before in the live stream. We were talking about how I have like over 5,000 videos and how all of my competitors who are more successful than me have a maximum of like 300 videos. So I've got like literally a little less than 5,000 videos more than the second place person. Okay. So, and we were musing about why Heart of Michelle, she's a ENFP, is not so prolific as I am, even though she's an NEDOM. And I said, well, likely it has to do with the FI challenges associated with maybe a YouTube channel. You get a lot of hate, a lot of attacks, a lot of whatever. And I said, but those hates and attack in general roll right off my back. And the ones, though, that are more successful, for example, are, and I cited specifically the example of people who want to argue with me about Rachel's type, because I understand all the subtext here, as I explicated it all before. And I'm not gonna let you do that.
I feel so vindicated. Like, honestly, like, to understand myself in a psychological way really helps me, because I was bumbling through life getting guidance from people who did want to help, but they only knew how to help their way. And like, I never understood, like, hey, how come I only stay at a job for maybe most 2 years? Like, oh, I don't like to do paperwork. Like, I don't know. It just makes like, it just like,
the thing is this.
connect more.
The thing is this, Mark Jan. What people want to do is present arguments as to why she's not an INFJ. But the reason she is an INFJ is because all the specific things that one might point to that are more definitive eliminate other possibilities. And it's a hard argument to win with people. And as I said before, the problem is they're going to collapse down to either I'm biased, because she's too close to me and I want her to be an INFJ, or that they're going to try to shift ground away from the core issue of what's her type towards negating her type. So instead of saying she's not an INFJ because she is an ENFP, or she is a whatever, and then defending that type, they'll just continually attack the notion that she's an INFJ by pointing to examples that seem to them inconsistent with it. But as a matter of fact, there's nothing that Rachel does overall that isn't inconsistent with an INFJ. It'd be difficult to say she's not an introvert watching her next to me and watching me monopolize the talking. All you have to do is watch a conversation between me and Sean. Now, Sean's an ENFJ, and you can see there being a...
Yeah. When Eric and I first met, I thought that I was an ENFJ because that was the closest type that made sense to me.
I typed her as an ENFJ. She came out here. We both thought she was an ENFJ. Yeah. And as we spent time together, I realized I had her mistyped.
Yeah, it was like a lightning strike bolt. I remember I was telling him about, we were listening to a song and I linked a memory to the song, and you're like, you're not ENFJ.
The thing is this. It's like, well, what else could she possibly be? Now, you could say she's an ISFJ, but if you were around for Kimberly and Rachel, you can't say that, because you're able to see clearly the huge difference between ISFJ and INFJ if you look at the comparison between the two people and the way they approach life. Okay. Now, if you were to say she's an ENFJ, then why isn't she a lot more talkative? If opioid and cognitive personalities theory, not INFJ, then right? What? I don't understand what you're saying. You have to if you want me to address that, you're going to have to explain what you mean here. You're saying that they are not right then if she's an INFJ? Well, you're right that they are not right if they say she's not an INFJ. Or if their personality theory explanation means that she would not be an INFJ, then you are correct that they are wrong.
I think I'm a good example of an INFJ, actually. I give a lot of credit to FJ, but I'm definitely a good example of an INFJ. I just happen to be more extra, like, I don't want to say extroverted.
You're louder.
Yeah.
You are a Long Island Italian. Mm-hmm. Type 7, Enneagram.
With
INFJ.
With
a family of censors who don't listen to her at all unless she's practically screaming at them. Now, I don't normally like to have special pleading, but I'm not special pleading on anything. So I'm not saying she's more extroverted than a normal INFJ. I'm saying she's louder than a normal INFJ.
I'm a 7. I like to have fun. I like to smoke weed. I like to watch entertainment. I like to be the entertainment. I like to live in a magical world and escape once in a while. I like to look to the bright side. It's really hard to get me down.
Those sort of things are why people are going to go, oh, you must be an ENFP. Yeah. But those things have nothing to do with being an ENFP, right?
No, in fact,
The reason she's an INFJ is because her dominant function is NI and her second function is FE. Anybody who thinks she's FI is insane, and anybody who thinks she's NE rather than NI is insane. So we know she's got at least those mix of things here. We're talking about those two axes, NISE axis and TIFE axis. And so the question is, within Beta Quadra, which type is she? She's not an ISTP. She's not an ESTP. She's not an extrovert, so she's not an ENFJ. The best mistyping of her is ENFJ, which is what I mistyped her for at first.
And I agreed with it because at the time it made the most sense to me. I had even talked to Megan Lavoda about it because Eric said, he was like, if you have more questions, refer to her videos and stuff. And I did. And it just seemed to make more sense.
Yeah, I would have been perfectly happy on a typological level if she'd come here and I had been right and she was an ENFJ, and who knows, maybe we'd still be together regardless. But the thing is, unfortunately, I had the difficult thing to do that I have to do, even though like a month had passed since she'd gotten here, and I had been keeping quiet about it the whole time, like my growing doubts. At a certain point, I had to say, "Hey, I gotta admit something to you. I mistyped you. You're actually an INFJ." It wasn't something I wanted to do. I don't like being wrong.
No, it wasn't.
Just because I accept it doesn't mean I like it.
It was totally sincere. Totally. Out of the blue, too. It was not. It was, like I said, lightning struck and the pieces fell together.
I don't think that would be true, Legends Fall. I do not think that would be true at all. The SI polar people can't be relied upon to do what they say they will because they got SE third.
I mean, I am a badass, but not many people get to see it.
Megan Lavoda may understand INFJs well, but when I asked Rachel to reference Megan Lavoda's videos, it was because I thought she was an ENFJ, so Rachel was probably referencing the ENFJ videos.
That's what I mean, yes.
So it wouldn't have been.
That was my first typing.
Even if she did understand INFJs well, directing her to Megan Lavoda wouldn't have helped because I was directing her to the wrong videos.
I was just going to say that I'm happy that I'm an INFJ, not ENFJ, because I think, yes, your mother is in a different state of mind than she usually was, but I did get to know her for quite some time and care for her for a little as well. And I think if I was an ENFJ, and I think that's a supervisor type, I think ISFJs like either supervise or are contrary, something like that to ENFJs. So I think it would have been more difficult for us to handle everything if my type was different.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like the reason we're in part so well typologically matched is that we both have a high prioritization of symbols over realities. And that's an important consideration in a relationship that probably most relationship coaches or whatever don't factor in. So it is really the case that it's important whether people are more map or more territory or being in the same general vicinity of the map territoriness.
Oh, yeah.
So I think being both heavily map types is helpful because Rachel never holds me to account for saying things I'm going to do. I'm like your dad or whoever it was that doesn't do what he says he's going to do. Oh, that Legends Fall. But it's more haphazard than that. Like a lot of times, depending on what I'm saying, though, first of all, it's not because I forget it. It's like all of a sudden it becomes this burden on me now. I just said I was going to do something. So now it's gone from NE to SE world. Now I'm supposed to do something? God damn it. Why did I say that? Yeah, she had good inferior TI. Did you see the video where I gave her the CI test? Is that what you're talking about, Mark Dan?
Yeah, she like me said that if she wrote it down, she would be able to get the TI questions better.
Yeah. So she used she wrote it down, and it was slow but right. You know, so that's what you'd expect to see from fourth slot. But the bottom line is, there seems to be what I've determined from some, unless it is possible that this lady Jade that I gave the TI questions to was getting the answers from somebody else. But if she wasn't, then she would appear to sort of disprove the TI polar test. But the way that she sort of came in, demonstrated she was an ESFP, then passed the TI polar test, then disappeared, makes me think that it was kind of it is kind of fishy.
Set up or something?
I guess, yeah, it's kind of fishy.
Yeah, because she watches C.H. Joseph stuff, so.
So, I mean, the thing is, we're talking about Jade. There's one person who came around and really shook my confidence in the TI polar test. Jade. I'm quite convinced that Jade is an ESFP. And yet, I got her to come on, talk to me so I could hear her voice anyway. I think maybe she was even on camera. But I gave her some TI questions, and she gave me the correct answers and did so relatively quickly. And I said, okay, well, I guess you're not an ESFP then. But then after thinking about it for some time, I realized, no, she's definitely an ESFP. So I need to rethink the TI test. Not super thoroughly. So, yeah, briefly, I gave her some TI questions. I said, well, like, okay, you insist you are not an ESFP. Well, then if you are not an ESFP, then you'll be able to do some of these questions. So if you are an ESFP, it'll be like this. You won't be able to do them, blah, 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 blah. And I then got her briefly on in a conference room, and she did successfully answer the TI questions, was better at them than, say, Megan Laboda by a substantial amount. But I had no way of knowing what was going on behind the scenes, It's possible somebody else was telling her the answers. I am quite convinced that person is an ESFP. So either someone's telling her the answers, or I can't rely on the TI polar test if somebody's been taking, say, a conditional logic class, maybe. I don't know. That's possible. But personality type that is a chick magnet, I would guess ESTP.
I haven't taken that test. I don't remember who said it. Nicholas Watson, I believe.
Oh, yeah, you should take that test too, Rachel.
Yeah, I totally would. What is the difference between 738 and 784? Again, says Xavier Reese. Can you beat 738?
Yeah. That's the mover shaker type. Okay, well, that's what I thought too. Maybe she's an ISFP. I'm pretty sure everything else about her seems just screamed ESFP. So, I mean, I don't know.
The attitudinal psyche.
Yeah,
test.
ESFPs can be chick magnets too.
Yeah, they can.
For sure. I actually like that test a lot. I like the way that the questions were put together.
What did you get?
I mean, I got visionary. It doesn't. It's like I don't like their system, whatever you want to call it, but I like the way they've structured some of those questions, and I found it informative to see how they're structuring the questions, because I think they did a pretty good job of structuring these questions to minimize gaming, maybe. I'm not sure, but here, let's take it.
There's cartoons with it.
You take it.
Cool.
I think this might be made by the same people who make the 16 personalities.
Oh.
And you might be like, let's try this again with a different one,
Yeah.
All right. Rachel. Oops, that's not your name. The W is stuck on my keyboard.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to get a new keyboard pretty soon.
That's a good one.
Rachel. Next. Unsure. Next. All right. Please type 5 words. Optimistic.
Unloving, is that, can you put that?
Sure. Unloving.
Empathetic.
Empathetic. Intuitive and what?
Oh,
I had trouble coming up with the 5th one myself.
wise. I've been through a lot.
All right. Please choose the option that best describes how you handle responsibilities.
Hmm.
1. You take full responsibility for the energy and vision you've decided for yourself without considering the opinions of others. 2. You verbalize and encourage others to imagine the ways in which responsibility can be divided between yourself and others. 3. You ponder and worry about your responsibilities in order to understand what must be completed. 4. You carefully consider your responsibilities according to what's expected of you without worry or stress.
It's between 2 and 3. I like to go with 2 more often than worry. That's why people think I'm naive.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle emotional expression. You express your emotions without being concerned with how appropriate they are to others. You discuss emotional expression with others and encourage them to share what they feel and safe to do so. You hold your emotions close until it feels safe to show them if that is ever an option. You pay attention to how others express themselves in order to understand which emotions are important to a situation.
I think 4.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle money and the value of objects.
Oh, God.
You determine the monetary value of an object using your own reasoning without considering outside sources. You offer multiple perspectives on money can be used organized to strengthen someone's journey towards happiness. You review how much money you plan on spending numerous times, as thinking of value and spending causes you anxiety. Or when you think about the value of objects, you will defer to what experts have decided and incorporate it if necessary.
2. I say that to myself.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle logical opinions. 1. You only listen to the logical opinions of others in order to slightly alter the opinion you've already built for yourself. 2. You listen to all opinions and promote discussion between individuals, as processing logic is most important. 3. You review logical opinions numerous times before making them public, as you must process and defend from any unfair criticism. 4. You defer to the opinions of others until a certain one stands out as most useful to incorporate.
3.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle overcoming obstacles. You quickly understand what needs to be done, and to overcome. You quickly understand what needs to be done to overcome an obstacle, and you do it yourself without hassle or referring to anyone. 2. You help create an environment that takes positive journeys through overcoming obstacles and learning along the way. 3. You obsess over what it would take to overcome an obstacle and whether you'd appear weak if you were unable to do so. 4. You refuse to worry about overcoming obstacles until an outside source prompts you to do so, as it's not that serious.
It's between 2 and 4. I think 2. Because I do worry sometimes.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle emotional reactions. You react emotionally to an experience only considering the effect it has on you rather than everyone else. You give importance to how all emotional reactions affect those around you while contributing and adhering to others' opinions. 3. You review your emotions numerous times before reacting emotionally in order to defend against unwarranted criticism. Or 4. You enjoy when others are emotionally reactive, as it gives you a guide to what's relevant and important.
2.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle reasoning in arguments. You create detailed arguments based solely on your own reasoning, as other people's reasoning is not as useful. You offer multiple arguments with detailed reasonings while incorporating and showcasing other viewpoints as well. You consider and piece together all possible arguments in order to avoid feeling as if your reasoning is weak or unfounded. 4. You refer to reasoning and opinions by experts in order to defend your own arguments.
2.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle completing achievements. 1, you believe only you can energize yourself into reaching a milestone achievement. 2, you energize yourself and others to imagine what achievements each person wants for themselves. 3, you worry about what it takes to energize yourself and whether that will get in the way of what you could achieve in life. 4, you calmly listen to the advice from experts on how to energize yourself to complete an achievement.
1. But I like to have a partner to do it with it, but I don't really have that.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle food and personal taste. 1, you prepare and choose food that only you want as you see little value in following the recommendations of others. 2, you discuss and taste the taste of food openly with others and encourage them to take the journey of culinary appreciation with you. 3, you worry about how you may miss out on the pleasures of food and cuisines due to your anxiety regarding taste or health. Or 4, you follow the recommendations of others on what food to try as food and taste is not at the top of your priorities.
The 4th one.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle goals. You create, orchestrate, and execute entire goals by yourself without listening to outside sources. 2, you discuss goals with others, encouraging both parties to imagine the possibilities. 3, you avoid adopting or creating a goal that you know is unrealistic or will rob you of energy. 4, you listen to the ideas of others in order to incorporate the best plan to achieve a goal.
3.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle systems and theories. 1, you create systems and theories from scratch without consulting or discussing the process with anyone. 2, you discuss systems and theories with others, encouraging everyone to imagine all logical possibilities. 3, you are highly skeptical of the pitfalls of systems and theories, knowing it's impossible to be perfectly correct. Or 4, you may entertain many different schools of thought and theories, preferring to choose which expert opinion works most efficiently for you.
It's between 2 and 4. I think 4.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle personal relationships. You decide where you stand in personal relationships yourself rather than figuring it out with others. 2, you remain open and willing to agree with the significance that others place on personal relationships. 3, you question the significance of your personal relationships and rarely let others peek into your opinions of them. Or 4, you appreciate when others explain where you stand with them, as you'd rather not decide that for yourself.
4.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle practical skills. 1, you develop and implement practical skills on your own rather than checking in with others and their strategies. 2, you shine the light on tricks and tips to incorporate new practical skills in life while sharing these with others. 3, you obsess over practical skills, often rejecting or questioning anyone who offers unsolicited advice on the topic. Or 4, you learn about practical skills by studying the opinions and advice of experts and then incorporating them.
4.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle the meaning behind art and creativity. 1, you verbalize your opinions of the emotions behind art and creativity without considering others' opinion. 2, you are willing to discuss and can sometimes concede to others how others interpret art and the inspiration behind creative endeavors. 3, you are cautious to let others see what inspires you to create art and express yourself as it feels uncomfortable or dangerous. Or 4, you enjoy when others assert their innermost inspirations behind the art they create, as it helps you understand ways in which you can do the same.
So if it's like I'm looking at someone that's something made, like someone made that, like, I think 2.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle creating rules and regulations. 1, you are confident in creating rules and regulations without second-guessing yourself or referring to others in the process. 2, you ask questions and take into consideration how everyone processes and learns when creating rules and regulations. 3, you are skeptical, analytical, and prone to continuous processing when creating rules and regulations. 4, you refer to the suggestions of others and refuse to worry or stress when creating rules and regulations.
2.
Please choose the option that best describes how you handle physical environments. 1, you create a physical environment that you appreciate without consulting or discussing it with anyone else. 2, you help others process and understand the multiple ways they can organize and transform their physical environment. 3, you constantly improve your physical environment in order to avoid feelings of anxiety, discomfort, or worry. 4, you appreciate advice on how to organize your physical environment and often implement it.
1.
How do you decide what's worthwhile to take on in your life? 1, without hassle, I know what I want at any given time, and it's natural for me to evaluate the cost and benefit to get the most out of my energy. Listening, I Decide by gauging my own energy as well as understanding how it will affect others in the environment around me. Obsession is generally a struggle to figure out what's worthwhile, and I may make a quick, hasty decision or obsess over what's worth the energy. Or necessity. I am lax as to what's worthwhile unless it's affecting my current needs or necessities. I'm happy to listen to others' advice on the matter.
Damn, it's so hard. How do you decide what's worthwhile? Let's take. I gauge my energy. I listen.
How do you handle proving that you're correct about a logical problem? 1, explanation. I explain how the information I've learned is logically sound and accurate in great detail. I don't question my ability to do so. 2, communication. I turn the problem into a conversation between parties. Then I figure out where the difference in opinions lies and integrate, evolve both sides. 3, discrepancies. I prove how others' opinions have conflicting information and how I arrived at my own opinion by resolving these discrepancies. Or unbothered. I rarely feel the need to prove whether I'm correct or not. However, it's necessary. I'll walk through each step until it makes sense to whoever's asking.
2.
How do you approach your innermost feelings? Inner feelings. Utmost importance. I respect my feelings and consider them as an imperative part of who I am, regardless of their intensity. Accepting. I accept and observe my feelings while holding space for them as needed, preferring to listen to how others feel as well. Unsure. I question how I feel and can obsess over which feeling is an accurate representation of who I am, or relevance. I decide which feeling is relevant to my situation at the moment and move forward once I gain any necessary information.
I think unsure.
What's your relationship to willpower? Assured. I always know when to tap into it, when to turn it on for myself. Responsive. I can turn it on for myself or adapt to others almost always. Hesitant. I am initially unsure of how to apply it and when it's worth engaging in. Indifferent. I don't worry or think about it unless prompted or absolutely necessary.
Responsive.
How do you create physical comfort for yourself? Decisively. I decide what's comfortable to me and surround myself with those things when needed, as I know what's best for me. Exploratory. I continuously try new methods and physical objects to explore what I might find comfortable, open to all outside perspectives and advice. Anxiously. I may figure out what I find uncomfortable and learn how to avoid that. I need patience and time to figure out how to feel more comfortable. Nonchalantly. I usually don't notice when I'm uncomfortable, so I don't pay close attention to it unless necessary.
Nonchalantly.
How do you incorporate rules and regulations into your own understanding?
Ugh.
Directly. I read and analyze them when taking what I believe is relevant. I can create an overall understanding with confidence. Observation. I observe how the rules and regulations affect myself and those around me. I gather the general consensus and incorporate from there how the rules work. Obsessiveness. I tend to overanalyze when I am forced to understand rules and regulations, but I may try to ignore or override them if they're not totally necessary. Requirement. I figure out what's required of me and waste as little time as I can, incorporating it into my understanding. If I need to ask others for help, I don't mind doing so.
Requirement.
Well, what do you do with your intuitions of people? Without doubt, I accept my intuitions and react without doubt or shame based on the information they provide. Communicate. I prefer to compare notes and discuss the reasons that I may have certain intuitions about people or how others agree. Question intensely. I question where the intuition came from and may worry about its validity, sometimes deferring to others to understand what they mean. Or usefulness. I decide why the intuition may be useful and remain carefree and unbothered if it's not.
Question intensely.
How do you go about keeping your appearance attractive? Confidently. I confidently purchase whatever products and clothes I need, often disregarding others' advice or thoughts on my appearance. Gauging others. I explore the world of style and how others dress, often combining my own personal taste with the opinion and advice of others. Carefully. I may ruminate and then look for what is lacking or missing in my repertoire. Thus, I boost my attractiveness by bettering what needs to be fixed. Unbothered. I don't worry much about it unless someone else gives me advice or shows me a way in which I can improve my appearance.
Unbothered. But that's
Oh, you want to go back?
okay.
We can go back.
So, I feel like I don't know what I do. I was just thinking today how.
I think this is right.
Yeah.
I think you're unbothered. Fully grasping and discussing detailed information. Naturally confident or naturally not confident. Quick to handle or may take time and effort to handle.
not confident.
Deciding a new direction in your life. Naturally confident, quick to handle. Naturally not confident. May take time and effort to handle.
My best ones are made naturally confident and quickly. Yeah.
Deciding how something tastes and organizing it into a hierarchy of likes and dislikes. Naturally confident, naturally not confident.
Naturally confident.
This is how something tastes. Food tastes. You confident about that?
Yeah.
Following the rules and regulations that are set forth for you. Naturally confident, naturally not confident.
Not confident.
Building up layers of truth within a structural argument. Naturally confident, naturally not confident.
Not confident.
Reacting with intense emotions and expressions to a situation. Naturally confident, quick to handle. Naturally not confident, may take time and effort to handle.
Not naturally confident.
Correctly identifying and organizing the pieces and parts to a theory. Naturally confident, naturally not confident.
Naturally confident.
Understanding and organizing your deep emotional desires and what they mean. Naturally confident, not naturally confident.
Not naturally confident.
Motivating yourself into action. Naturally confident, not naturally confident.
Not naturally.
Sharing and openly communicating your intuition and deep feelings of others.
Not naturally confident.
Overcoming an obstacle that stands in your way.
Naturally confident.
Creating value judgments and cultural values, ethics, and meanings within those systems.
Naturally confident.
Showing others the depth of your own knowledge without stutter.
Not naturally.
Expressing what deeply captivates your emotions and feelings.
Not naturally.
Keeping ahead of schedule with your personal hygiene.
Not naturally.
Openly describing how you value relationships.
Naturally.
Intensively teaching others to get how to better one's logical skills.
Not naturally.
Deciding a responsibility that you must stick to.
Not naturally confident.
Arguing what is correct or incorrect in an academic setting.
Naturally confident.
Sorting out the depths of your inner feelings.
Not naturally confident.
Editing logic and finding errors in a proposed theory or idea.
Naturally confident.
Engaging in practical skills like cooking, cleaning, saving money, and finding comfort.
Not naturally confident.
Energizing yourself to manage others.
Naturally confident.
Surrounding yourself with physical and aesthetic comforts.
Naturally confident.
Building a strong sense of your own character.
Naturally.
Knowing what you desire and how your tastes change in regard to food, diet, and cuisine.
Naturally confident.
Deciding and completing a goal.
Not naturally confident.
Upkeep and caring for the visual aesthetics around you.
Oh. Yeah.
Accomplishing something that you set out to achieve.
No.
Shopping for clothes and deciding how you like this fit, style, or vibe.
Naturally confident.
Declaring the meaning within a certain piece of art or music.
Naturally confident.
Decorating and fully designing a space.
I haven't done that in a while. Yes, naturally confident.
In which area of life do you feel the most confident in while refusing to bend to the will or opinion of others? My willpower and choice of what I do, my logical conclusions and idea of how reality works, my personal preferences of aesthetic, food, and comforts, my emotional intuitions, feelings, and deep personal judgments.
I think the last one.
In which area of life do you feel the most open, helpful, and willing to listen to others? My willpower and choice of what I do, my logical conclusions and ideas of how reality works, my personal preferences of aesthetic, food, and comforts.
Third.
In which area of life do you feel the most anxious, unsure, stressed out, or unable to deal with?
My willpower, choice of what I do.
In which area of life do you feel the most unbothered, unworried, and willing to put off until necessary to handle?
Mhm.
In which area of life do you feel the most confident in while refusing to bend to the will or opinion of others? My responsibilities and drive to overcome obstacles, my understanding of rules, regulations, and how society systems should run, my ideas of personal satisfaction, products, and belongings, my opinions on art, cultural values, and ethics.
I think my opinions on art, cultural values, and ethics.
In which area of life do you feel the most open, helpful, and willing to listen to others? My responsibilities to drive to overcome obstacles, my understanding of rules, regulations, and how society systems should run, my ideas of personal satisfaction, products, and belongings. What's your
The
choice?
fourth one again.
Oh, the fourth one?
I think so.
I think you've already chosen that one. You just pick a different
Oh,
one.
I do?
I don't know. I actually picked a different one each time, so maybe you don't have to. Oh, you don't? Okay, my bad. In which area of life do you feel the most anxious, unsure, stressed out, or unable to deal with? My responsibilities and drive to overcome obstacles.
I think 2.
In which area of life do you feel the most unbothered, unworried, and willing to put off until necessary to handle?
Oh. Until necessarily to handle. My ideas of personal satisfaction. Yeah.
The Flourisher.
Oh.
FVEL. FVEL is the attitudinal psyche type most skilled at creating pleasing physical spaces. FVELs especially enjoy themes when it comes to their aesthetic preferences. This type often creates spaces in which their imaginations can roam free with no risk of stressful or violent situations. They enjoy listening to outside perspective regarding the identity they've created. FVELs tend to sort out all their belongings to understand how each object could fit together to create a new vibe. FVELs gather ideas, information, and opinions around them to envision how their life path can change with their cultural identity. FVELs may borrow small ideas from other groups and cultures in order to subtly incorporate them into their own creations. This is how they get a general sense of how foreign environments may affect them. FVELs feel a general disinterest in theoretical models unless it specifically feeds into their worldly desires. This is not the right typing of you. I can tell you that right now.
I don't think that. Especially that last one.
Well, I mean, you're also spent almost no energy on the space. I mean, there's the simple reality that you put stuff up on the cork board over there, but you spend almost none of your time and energy like
That's true. That's more
tidying, organizing the space, decorating, or anything.
I like that. I like the. No, I don't.
The thing is, that's interesting is when you're taking this test, I thought, it tells you this. The other possibility, FVLE or EVLF.
Oh, wow. Really close.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna.
FVLE. FVLE. The survivalist. FVLE, right?
Yeah.
That was the first one here.
Why?
What was the other one you got?
That was also 28? I don't know.
Fuck, I moved away from that. Huh. God damn it, Eric. I did the same thing yesterday. So I don't, and you can't get back to it, so I don't know what your results are.
I think it was
FVLE was the
catalyst or the I don't know the
merchant or the survivalist, I think.
Yeah.
FVLE is the attitudinal psyche type most prepared to survive in tough situations. They easily adapt to responsibilities that are expected of them while maintaining strength. This type has no issue negotiating their willpower in order to quickly take what they want from the environment. This is like an ISTP type. You're not that either. Let me see what. Oops. Let's see what you are. Oh, this is what you got originally. FVEL.
Yeah.
A flourisher.
Yeah.
And I'm the visionary.
Oh.
Let's see the sensualist. Sensualist.
That sounds like it.
Like this weird thing about the physical environment that's not correct, you know?
No.
They are highly active and socially aware, preferring to indulge their emotions through their senses. And sensitive to the perceptions of others. They strive to follow through on commitments. Their charisma and practicality smooths over issues. They have bold styles that represent their emotional preferences. What do these things stand for? Oh, logic, volition, emotion, and physics. Insecure, unconcerned logic. I don't know. The visionary type that I am, I didn't see that whole stuff before. I didn't scroll down enough, I guess. This one says, I've got confident logic, flexible emotion, insecure volition, and unconcerned physics. This is right for me. That's I do have confident logic, flexible emotion, insecure volition, and unconcerned physics.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I would say you also have unconcerned physics. You've got insecure volition. You've got probably these are
different.
Yeah, I would put these the other way around. EL. I mean, is it always going to be like that? One's confident, one's flexible, one's insecure, and one's unconcerned. If that's the case, then, I mean, I would switch 1 and 2. I would say that you're confident about emotion and flexible about logic.
Mm-hmm.
So if that were the case, then it would be ELVF. 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 ELVF.
Catalyst.
The poet.
Oh, ELVF.
ELVFs are great storytellers that can make a person feel a wide depth of emotions through their crafty use of language and storytelling. This type, nicknamed the poet, is able to build a colorful picture of their desires as they desire to negotiate. They often use this to negotiate their responsibilities through lengthy discussions. Unfortunately, ELVFs tend to have an attitude that does not aid them in exerting their willpower to take care of everyday tasks. It's not that they're lazy, they sometimes lack attentiveness to chores and errands. This lack of willpower is often what leads the type to experiencing anxiety and restlessness. They spend a lot of time developing their emotional worlds through exploration of their own and others' minds. They enjoy conversing and sharing interesting tidbits and ideas they gathered over time. However, as much as they love to express themselves at length, they are always scanning information to gain more insight to share in the future. ELVFs are intrigued by things that are bizarre and theoretical. They may become interested in taboo or unexplored topics while refusing to let anyone deter their wandering mind.
That's like me.
This type usually does not get caught up in materialism and physical desires unless it aids them in one of their emotional revelations. The poet may also experience deep anxiety when attempting to organize their goals and future career plans. This worrisome nature in regards to their own volition may cause them to ignore their physical needs, and they can often leave their environment in disarray if they can't manage their own stress. However, a tool they do have is being able to heavily research and keep themselves motivated with their intense emotions. They can overcome hardships by expanding their poetic thoughts and artistic touch while sharing them with the world. Overall, ELVFs bring a unique vision to life while refusing to bend to the banality and expectations of society.
Yeah.
That one seems more correct by a substantial amount.
Yeah. What happened there?
I don't know.
I was too strong on some of my aesthetic stuff.
Well, I will say that when I was watching, when you were answering them, I thought, man, if this was the Newlywed Game, we'd be failing miserably because you kept answering them differently than I would have expected you to answer them. Okay, we've been gone for a long time.
Sorry, guys.
We were taking a test. I think that's what Rachel is probably on that test.
Yeah. What was it?
It's the attitudinal psyche test. And I think she's a ELVF, and I'm an LEVF.
think we would do really well on the newlyweds test, actually.
The newlywed game.
Yeah. I do. I know you better than most people. You know me better than most people.
Yeah, and you'll find his channel. This is from a little-known personality test from Russia. Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a long test. Do you guys think the difference between Effie ignoring and Effie demonstrative is very noticeable? I mean, CJ O'Connell, I would agree you seem more like an introvert than an extrovert, if that's what you're getting at.
Kyle?
Jason Momoa is probably ESFP. I think more personality tests need to be invented. Do you agree, Rachel?
No, I think 16 is good. It's a lot.
I've been using Beatles songs as my name for one website, example, Honey Pie. Rainy Fox, I remember playing the song P.S. I Love You over and over again and copying down the lyrics so I could sing the entire song. I would have loved computers as a teen. I remember doing stuff like that too.
What did you get, Kyra? Here's Kyra. I mean, like, you know what's funny? Like, you like my, like, you know, I pin up stuff, I like collages, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But, whenever anyone would come into my room in New York, they would always compliment stuff that my mom put up in my room, and I would be like, no, you don't know me. Oh, cool. Let us know what you got. I'm curious, because mine seem to be like every other test I take online, totally off. So
I think you're probably intuiting too much into the questions. Like I try to figure out
yeah, it was.
You know, sort of there was a couple of them that I thought, well, when you're phrasing it like that, I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
You know, the problem is this mushing together of emotions and intuition.
Yeah, and then also mushing together of like aesthetic and like food and
right, and physicalities and stuff.
Yeah,
and so,
material stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's appropriate for today. When I go shopping, I like to go shopping alone. I'm not a huge like. I like to browse. I like to buy what I think looks good on me. I don't really like second opinions. Like, I like Eric's second opinions because he could care less. And I think he would really tell me the truth if he thought I was going over the line with something.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't think if I got those claws nails, I'm not sure how much he would love those. Would you like my claw? I'm not getting them done because I can't.
No, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, see.
I don't like those super long nails.
See, but I appreciate that. Like, I would appreciate you being like, yeah, it's not like really my thing.
Yeah, I'll type your friend. I'm gonna actually wrap this live stream up right now. Why don't we chat briefly, Octavio, and then we'll see what's happening at that point. Okay, bye everybody. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.
Yeah. Could you roll me another